I really am excited to be talking to you and sharing with you the RAP overview because I think RAP is very, very, very important. If you have any kind of mental health challenges at all, you need to be able to do whatever you can to help yourself. That we do have a mental health system and we do have treatment options, but you never know what you might be getting, what you might be getting into, and really the safest thing that you can do for yourself is to help yourself. And so what I would like to think about doing is that when you start having difficulties, that instead of thinking, who can I reach out to for help, that the first thing you think about is, what can I do to help myself? Then you do everything you can to help yourself. Then, for whatever you've got left over that you have to deal with, you reach out to help from others. And I hope that makes sense to all of you. If not, ask me some questions at the end. As you probably know, RAP includes a wellness toolbox, daily maintenance plan, triggers and an action plan, early warning signs and an action plan, when things are breaking down in an action plan, crisis planning, advanced directive, and same thing, and post-crisis planning. So we're going to go through each of that. I want you to know that RAP was not developed by me. Lots of people think it was. It was developed by a group of people who have been having mental health difficulties, difficult feelings and behaviors for many years. They were working to feel better and get on with their lives, and they felt like they needed a system. They needed some kind of a system to keep all of their wellness organized. And so they worked over a series of days. They worked for 3 days to develop the Wellness Recovery Action Plan. And it's been a really powerful tool, and we've tested that structure. We've worked with that structure over time, and it works. We've researched it now extensively. It's now an evidence-based practice. RAP works. The best way to learn about it is in a group, but you can do it on your own as well. But we really encourage you to do it in a group because you get so many good ideas for it from other people. RAP will help you stay as well as possible, and it will help you keep track of difficult feelings and behaviors, and then develop action plans to help you feel better. It tells others what to do for you when you feel so badly that you can't make decisions, take care of yourself, or keep yourself safe. You can use RAP as a tool to help ensure your success if you are planning changes in your life, like getting a job, changing jobs, increasing your work hours, taking on more responsibilities, getting more education or training, leaving supported housing, moving, beginning or leaving a relationship, working on relationship issues, having a child, any kind of chronic or acute illness, addictions. Lots of people are using RAP to deal with alcohol addictions, eating addictions, drug addictions. You can use RAP to break bad habits, to lose weight. You can try out new interests. You can use it if you're caring for an ill or elderly family member. And let me just say that over time, when we first started talking about RAP, people were thinking about, well, I can develop one RAP to deal with my diabetes, and I can do another RAP to deal with my mental health problems, and I can have another RAP to deal with maybe my fibromyalgia, and another one that would help me deal with my smoking. And over time, people said, you know, that really doesn't work, that you need one RAP, you need to consolidate all of that into one RAP, and that's because it's really hard to make clearly defined lines between what's affecting what. So really having it all in one document feels like the best way to go. There's only one person who can write your RAP. That's you. You and only you decide if you want to write a RAP, how much time it takes you to do it, when you want to do it, which parts you want to do. Now, I know some of you out there may be mental health care providers, mental health professionals of one sort or another, case managers, counselors, all people who do really great work supporting those of us who have mental health difficulties. And it's important for you to know how to develop RAP so that you can help people as they're developing their own RAP, but it's important that you not write it for them. What we have found is that when somebody else writes your RAP for you, it really doesn't work, that each person is really the expert on themselves. So you, if you're a care provider of some sort or a supporter of some sort, Just remember that you just give ideas, suggestions, maybe they need some help with writing, any of those kinds of things. But this plan is really theirs. They write it, they keep it, they show it to who they want to. It's really totally theirs. And so as I talk, I'll be talking as if I'm the person who's writing a rap. And I do have a rap, and I do use it all the time. You and only you decide who you want, if anyone, to help you with it, how you use it, who you show it to, where you keep it, who, if anyone, has copies of your crisis plan or your advance directive. You may want to develop your rap in a 3-ring binder with filler paper and a set of 5 tabs. That's the way people did it originally. However, you can develop your rap using any paper or notebook style. You could develop it on your computer. We have a computer software program for rap, and we also have a build your own rap online program that you can use. But you could also record it into a tape recorder and then have it fed back. That's especially helpful to people who have vision difficulties. And again, you may want to ask a friend to support you as you work on your rap. So let's get going on rap. And I think that by far and away the very most important part of rap is your list of wellness tools. And if that's all you ever get to doing, you've really accomplished a great deal. This list of wellness tools can be a great asset to you. These are the things you do to help yourself get well, and the things you do to help yourself feel better when you don't feel well. And when you stop and think about that, you can have a huge list of those. You can have wellness tools that you've discovered yourself, that you've learned from others. Almost all of them are simple, safe, and free. And then you'll use these tools to develop your rap. But even if you don't ever develop the rest of your rap, hang your list of wellness tools on your refrigerator, and every time you can't figure out what to do, look at that list, and there will surely be something on there to help you. You can add to this list. I've been adding to my list for years. It's gotten really, really long, and I can always just go to it, and I can always find something that I can do that will help me feel better. So I'm going to share with you some common wellness tools. And what people usually do is they have a piece of paper, they write their wellness tools on a piece of paper, and then they put it in the front of their binder. But if you're using some other program, you just have it in the front of the program. And you can put it in the back of your binder. It's up to you where you have it. And it's up to you what kind of notebook you use. It's up to you if you want to make decorations on the front of it. It's up to you if you want to cut out pictures from magazines and put them in there. Whatever you want to do with it, it's up to you. So some of the common wellness tools are reaching out to others for support, checking in with a care provider, peer counseling, which means you get together with one other person, that person talks for half the time, you talk for half the time. Focusing exercises. You can learn about focusing exercises. Lots of people use them. They're really, really helpful. You can learn about them in the red book that's called Wellness Recovery Action Plan, and you can learn about it in the Rap Plus book. There's various stress reduction and relaxation techniques. I do some progressive relaxation exercises at night and some meditation kinds of things that are really helpful to me. Doing things that divert your attention, things you enjoy. I like to work on a quilt. I like to play the piano. I like to pet my dog. Anything that diverts my attention, that keeps me from thinking about things that might be troubling to me or how badly I feel. Anything that diverts your attention. Reading a good book is a great thing. Listening to music that you really love. Looking at flowers, planting flowers. There's all kinds of things that divert your attention, so that list can be really long. Journal writing, writing in a journal, eating or avoiding certain foods. For me, I do much better if I avoid sugar. If I eat lots of vegetables, I do really well. Exercise, whatever movement you can do, do it. It's just, they found it in places that have done some studies on this, and they found it much more effective than antidepressant medications for relieving depression. It's just good across the board. It's good for your whole body. Getting light through your eyes can be really helpful as well. Doing things that help you sleep well, modifying your daily life in some way, getting up earlier, sleeping more, those kinds of things. All of those can be really helpful. Having a day that is kind of stress-free can be really helpful, where you cancel all the things that you usually do and get somebody else to take over for you. That kind of thing can be really helpful. Taking action to keep yourself safe. And one of the things that's come up lately about keeping yourself safe is that, if you're really, really not feeling well and you think you might be feeling worse, you might want to really consider, if you have a laptop computer that you use, give it to somebody else, because lots of time, I'm noticing these days, and this is kind of a new thing, is that people are getting in trouble using their computers when they're not feeling well, sending nasty letters to people, something that they wouldn't normally do. Daily planning can help, any kind of spiritual practices, prayer, meditation, whatever you do. You'll be able to think of many other wellness tools that are helpful to you, and keep your list in the front of your binder and your computer, wherever it's most convenient for you. But you can make huge lists, and that's why it's good to do this in a group, because you're asking people in the group for ideas, and you put on your list those that work for you, and you don't put on those that don't. So on the first tab in your binder then, getting going on the parts of the wrap, we begin with the daily maintenance. We begin with the daily maintenance list, and on the first tab write daily maintenance list and insert it in your binder, followed by several sheets of binder paper. And on the first page, describe how you feel when you feel well. You want to do that in list form. It's a really easy thing to do. Things like bright, outgoing, humorous, athletic, content, reasonable, happy, optimistic, competent, industrious, responsible, withdrawn. That's an easy list to do. We won't spend a lot of time on that. You can put a picture of yourself. And remember, this is just an overview. Some other words might be introverted, active, compulsive, quiet, cheerful, boisterous, talkative, energetic, dramatic, calm, curious, reserved. You may also want to include on this page a list of the specific things you want to work on in your wrap, like building your self-esteem, going back to work, and getting a different job, learning new skills, losing or gaining weight, addressing addictions, relieving the effects of trauma. What do you want to see at the end? So you've got a list of what you like when you're well, some things that you want to be working on, healing from an illness, injury, or surgery, dealing with a chronic illness like fibromyalgia or arthritis. And then on the next page, a very important page in my view, make a list of every one of the wellness tools that you know that if you did them every single day, you'd feel pretty good. Can't be a long list because you'd run out of time, but what are the things you need to do every day? You need to drink a certain number of glasses of water. You need to eat 3 meals. What are the things that keep you well? Maybe for you, you have to spend a half an hour every day reading or you don't feel great. Or maybe you have to spend an hour listening to music or you don't feel great. It's a very individual list. Some examples would be to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning so you can go to work, packing a healthy lunch and snacks to take to work, eating 3 healthy meals and 3 healthy snacks, drinking at least 6 8-ounce glasses of water, getting half an hour exposure to outdoor light, taking medications and vitamins, and exercising for at least half an hour. And then on the next page, you make a reminder list for things you might choose or need to do on any day. And you read through this list every day, doing those things that need to be done, reduces the stress in your life and helps keep you on track. Ideas of things that might be on this list include setting up an appointment with a care provider, calling your vocational rehabilitation counselor, making some possible employment contacts, signing up for a class, studying, spending time with a good friend, being in touch with your family, spending extra time with my partner, peer counseling, might even be buying some groceries or vacuuming the room. Then, so we've got a list of wellness tools. We've got our daily maintenance list, which includes what we're like when we're well, what are the things we're working on, what do we need to do every day to stay as well as possible, and what are the things we might need to do. I hope that all makes sense to you. And you can see how when you're having a difficult time, having these resources available to you can be really helpful. The next section is triggers. Triggers are external events or circumstances that may make you feel very uncomfortable. They're the normal reactions to life events, but if you don't respond to them, they may actually make you feel worse. So they're unexpected. It's not something you expect. So on the second tab, write triggers and put in several sheets of binder paper. And on the first page, write down those things that, if they happened, might make you feel worse. Examples are problems at work, difficult relationships with coworkers, your benefits being questioned or denied, doing work that is hard for you, the anniversary of loss, traumatic news. All of those things would be examples of triggers. Being very overtired, work stress, family friction, financial problems, physical illness, sexual harassment, aggressive sounding noises, feeling left out. And then on the page, after you list your triggers, and again, you can keep adding to that list of triggers, develop a plan that you feel will keep you from feeling worse if a triggering event occurs. So, for example, if any of my triggers come up, I will make sure I do everything on my daily maintenance list. If it's work-related, I'll talk to my vocational counselor or employer. I will focus on tasks that are easy for me to do. I'll get one thing done that I know I can do really well. I'll do a reality check, like I'll say to myself, did I really do anything wrong? Do I really deserve to be treated that way? Talk to a support person, write in my journal, get some vigorous exercise. So that's triggers. So we've got wellness toolbox, daily maintenance plan, triggers, and we've got an action plan. Now we've got early warning signs. Early warning signs are internal, and they may be unrelated to reactions to stressful situations. They are subtle signs of change that indicate you may need to take some further action. So on the third tab, you want to write early warning signs and follow it with several sheets of binder paper. And on the first page, make a list of early warning signs you have noticed. Now, for me, an early warning sign that I'm not doing too well is that I don't want to answer the telephone, I don't want to buckle my seatbelt, I feel a little queasy when I eat things that I usually like to eat, I have a little bit of a headache, I'm not enjoying things that I usually enjoy. They're not kind of serious things. But I always used to ignore these things, and then I just get worse and worse and worse. So some examples: forgetfulness, anxiety or nervousness, the inability to experience pleasure, a lack of motivation, feeling slowed down or speeded up, avoiding doing the daily maintenance items that you have on your list, being uncaring or apathetic, avoiding others or isolating, being obsessed with things, feeling unconnected to my body, increased irritability or negativity. So those are some examples of early warning signs, and you can think of what are early warning signs for you. It's up to you to decide which section of your wrap you want to put things in, whether it's a trigger, it's an early warning sign, or belongs in the next section, which is when things are breaking down. So you've listed your early warning signs, and you can add to that list as you discover new ones over time. And then on the next page, you're going to develop a plan of things to do every day until you feel better. A plan that you think will help keep you from feeling worse when you notice early warning signs. And this, for triggers, we try to have the things on our action plan. We try to have a list of things that we can use most any time, any place. Things like taking a few deep breaths, talking to a friend, those kinds of things that are easy to access. And you might have a few things like reading a book, but you wouldn't want to have dancing be one of your on your triggers action plan, because if you're walking down the street and you see an upsetting accident, you don't want to start dancing because people might think you're unusual. So so keep that in mind with triggers. It needs to be something you can do every day. It might be all right to do dance, but you might not be able to if you're on the bus or something like that. So you've got your early warning signs. So you need an early warning sign action plan, and now your actions need to be more specific. A sample plan would be to do everything on your daily maintenance list, tell a supporter how you're feeling, do some peer counseling, do a focusing exercise, do 3 10-minute relaxation exercises, spend at least an hour involved in an activity you enjoy, and ask others to take over your household responsibilities. So that would be a plan for early warning signs. So we've come through Wellness Toolbox, daily maintenance plan, which consists of a list of words that describe you when you're well, the things that you're working on, a list of things you need to do every single day to stay as well as possible, and then a list of things you might need to do. Then we have identifying your triggers and an action plan for dealing with your triggers. Then we have early warning signs and an action plan for dealing with your early warning signs. And the next section is a very important section. It's called When Things Are Breaking Down or Getting Worse. You may begin to feel even worse, very uncomfortable, like the situation is serious and even dangerous. You are still able to take some action in your own behalf. This is a very important time. It's necessary to take immediate, assertive action to prevent a crisis. This is the time when, back before we had RAP and before we were thinking a lot about recovery, when as soon as people began feeling this way, right away, they maybe called the crisis team, went to the hospital, started taking some medication, and what we have found is that there are lots and lots of things that we can do to help ourselves feel better. We can take action in our own behalf. Before it was thought that we couldn't do anything to help ourselves. And I was even told that. There's nothing you can do to help yourself. And now I know there's lots and lots and lots of things that I can do to help myself. And there's times when stress really gets to me and things are breaking down in my life, and I can bring myself back around to feeling okay and being able to do the things I need to do by using my action plan. So on the fourth tab, write when things are breaking down, and follow this with several sheets of binder paper. And then make a list of the feelings and behaviors which for you mean that things have worsened and are close to the crisis stage. So some signs that things are breaking down or getting worse: you're feeling very needy, you're unable to sleep. And you might want to make a note of how long, if maybe you haven't slept in 2 nights, maybe it's just 1 night, maybe you're sleeping all the time, maybe you're avoiding eating, or maybe you're eating everything that there is around. Your thoughts are really racing. You're abusing substances, or maybe you're thinking an awful lot about abusing substances. Maybe you're obsessed with negative thoughts. Maybe you have some unusual behaviors that are going on. Maybe you're dissociating, you're blacking out, you're losing time. All signs that things are breaking down or getting worse, and you really need to figure out what they are for you, because what they are for me and what they are for you are totally different things. A few more examples: seeing things that aren't there, risk-taking behaviors like you're driving way, way, way too fast, you're thinking of hurting yourself, you're taking out your anger on others, you're yelling at other people a lot. So those are some examples. And on the next page, you want to write an action plan to use when you notice that things are breaking down. This plan is different from your triggers plan and your early warning signs plan, because now it needs to be very clear, very directive. It has things you must do. There's fewer choices because you really want to get on top of this. So it's almost like a good hospital day at home. So some of the things that you might think of doing, and again, refer back to your wellness toolbox. Call my doctor or care provider, ask for and follow their advice. And that's dependent on that you have a doctor and care provider who you really trust and you really think that they give good advice. This might be the time to follow. Arrange for at least 3 days off from work and any other responsibilities. That might be 2 days for you or 4 days for you, or it might be something totally different. Talk to a supporter. Arrange for someone to stay with me until I feel better. Take action so I can't hurt myself if things get worse. That might mean I'm going to give away my car keys. I'm going to give away my credit cards. I'm going to give away my computer, so I can't use my computer to email anybody something that I wouldn't normally do if I felt okay. I'm going to do everything on my daily maintenance list, do 2 peer counseling sessions, 3 deep breathing relaxation exercises, 2 focusing exercises, write in your journal for half an hour, and get half an hour of exercise. Remember, this is just a sample plan. You figure out what it is for you, and you may have to try it. You know, sometime when you're not feeling bad, but just say, could I really do this plan for 2 days? And then just take 2 days out of your schedule and try doing it. And if it doesn't work, then you need to change your plan. I actually did that. I tried it one time, and I failed, and so I figured I had to change it, and then I tried again, and then I was able to do it. So this is a very, very important plan. So we finished the first parts of WRAP, the Wellness Toolbox, Daily Maintenance Plan, Triggers, Early Warning Sign, and when things are breaking down. The next section of WRAP is the Crisis Plan, and we also call it the Advanced Directive. And it's one of the things we hope that you'll never have to use this. And lots of times people say, look, I'm using my WRAP, I'm using it perfectly, I'm never going to need a crisis plan. There's no way we can tell. There's no way you can tell what's going to happen in your life that might be so upsetting to you that you could have a crisis. So in spite of your best planning and assertive action, you may find yourself in a situation where others need to take over responsibilities for your care. You may feel as though you are totally out of control. Write your crisis plan when you are well. It will instruct others about how to care for you when you are not well. And it keeps you in control even when it seems like things are out of control. Others will know what to do, saving everyone time and frustration while ensuring that your needs will be met. And you want to develop this plan slowly when you're feeling well. It took a lot of time to develop the Wellness Toolbox and the other parts of WRAP. And I strongly suggest that you do those parts first before you develop this crisis plan or advanced directive, because through that process you learn a lot that will help you with this. It's not easy to write a crisis plan. It takes a lot of time. You may want to work on it just for a few minutes at a time, and do it over time. So this is the hardest part. So you don't want to start with the hardest part. You want to start with the easiest part, which I think is developing the Wellness Toolbox. So on the 5th tab, you write crisis plan and insert quite a few sheets of lined paper or use a form. There are forms for the crisis plan of the advanced directive in the red WRAP book, which I think many of you are familiar with, and some of our other books like WRAP for veterans and people in the military, WRAP for dealing with the effects of trauma, the kids WRAP book, all have forms in them that you can use to develop your crisis plan. You can also go to our website at www.rapandrecoverybooks.com and download a crisis plan form. And so if you're going to download a form, make a bunch of copies so that you can use one copy to really work on it, and then to finalize it on another copy, and to make copies for the people, and then to have copies so that you can make changes and give people new copies. I like to do my advanced directive, my crisis plan, on the computer, because that way I can easily change it and print out new copies. So if you possibly can do it on the computer, we've got the forms on the computer, and the forms are part of the WRAP for your computer program, and they're part of the Building Your Own WRAP program, the e-learning course, and I think that that's the best way to do your advanced directive. Because it makes it really easy to make changes, and it makes it really easy to pass out new copies. Just print them out and give them to the people that are your supporters. So the crisis plan has 9 parts. It includes what you're like when you're well, indicators that others need to take over, who takes over and who doesn't, information on your healthcare contacts and medications, acceptable and unacceptable treatments, home community care and a respite plan, acceptable and unacceptable hospital facilities, things others can do that would help, and things others might do that would make you feel worse. list of chores and tasks for others, indicators that the plan is no longer needed, and signatures of key people. So I'm going to go over these just a little bit because our time when we do these webinars is short, but it's just enough to give you a taste of what it's like. So, so the first section is what I'm like when you're feeling well, and that's a reference point. And you can go back to the beginning of your RAP and just copy it from there. But you may, if you're in a crisis, you may end up in in some kind of a treatment facility, and people there are not going to know you. And so if there's a description of what you're like when you're well, it will help them to understand. Like sometimes when people are having a difficult time, they talk and talk and talk continually. But you may be the kind of person that's always talked and talked and talked continually, and so it's not a sign of anything. And so you want to have that listed on what you're like when you're well. So that's easy. You can copy it from the beginning of your RAP. So, and here are some of the words. We don't need to go over them again. So the crisis plan part 2 is really, really, really important. You want to list those signs that indicate to others that they need to take over responsibility for your care and make decisions on your behalf. What may have happened in the past is maybe your sister came over and she saw that you were very nervous and fidgety, and she saw that you were pretty sad, and she saw that your house was kind of messy, and so she decided that you were having a crisis, and maybe she called the crisis team, and they took you into the hospital, and you had an assessment, and it turned into a big deal, when really you were doing things to help yourself, and you were on target, and you were just fine. So if you have this list of signs, people can look at it and say, oh yeah, they do need help, or no, I don't see that on this list. So things like, and this is very important, and a lot of crisis plans and advanced directives don't have it. Uncontrollable pacing, the inability to stay still, the inability to stop compulsive behaviors, catatonic, unmoving for long periods of time. You've been neglecting your personal hygiene, and for how many days? You need to say what it is very clearly so other people can understand it. And the rest of your plan, it was just for you. You write it the way it works for you. This part, you have to write it so it works for other people. Not cooking or doing any housework, and for how many days? Some people never do any housework, so it's not a sign of anything, and they never cook, and that's not a sign. But if you're the kind of person that does your housework, that does your cooking, and then you stop doing that, you may want people to know that that's a sign that you're not doing well. Not understanding what people are saying to you. You've got self-destructive, abusive, or violent behavior. Maybe you're doing some criminal activity. Maybe you're shoplifting. You're destroying property. You're throwing things. You're breaking things. You're using substances. You're threatening that you're going to end your life, or you're acting like you're going to end your life. So all of those would be signs that you might have. And it's a lot of work to work on that part of the list. It's hard. I suggest you do it for just a little while, and then when it starts to get upsetting to you, then you go do something else, do something fun, come back to it later, working on it at little bits of time. Helps to do it in a group because there's other people around, and you can take a break, and you can, have a little something to eat and chat, and then come back to it. And you can get ideas for that list from other people, so it really helps to do it in a group. Then the next section, part 3, is supporters. List at least 5 people you want to take over for you. You can include family members, friends, or care providers. Ask the people you choose if it's okay for you to include them on this list. Tell them what would be involved and show them a copy of your plan. They can say it. If they say they'll do it, great. If not, they can still be a good friend. Peers often provide this support for each other. And you may want to set up a meeting with your supporters so they know each other and to discuss your plan. I found this pretty important for my plan, that I include a list of people I don't want to be in decision-making or involved in my decision-making or taking care of me. Some doctors who I've had difficult times with in the past, and a family member who just gets too upset and agitated. So be sure to include a list of people you do not want to be involved in the decision-making or care. And you can write why you don't want them involved if you want to. Also describe how you want supporters to settle disputes if they disagree, like if one supporter says, I think she should try this medication, and another one says, I don't think she wants to use that kind of medication, then who's going to settle it? Who's going to be the bottom line? And then on part 4, medications, provide the names and phone numbers of your physician and pharmacy, your insurance company name, phone numbers and ID numbers, all of your allergies, medications and healthcare preparations you're currently using, why you're using them, the dosage, and when you take them, medications you would prefer to use if medications or additional medications became necessary and why you would choose them, medications that would be okay with you if medications became necessary and why you would choose them, and then medications that should be avoided and why they should be avoided. And then list those treatments you would like and those you would want to avoid. Some people say that electroshock treatment is fine with them, has been helpful, and other people say no way. It's up to you to write what you want and write it clearly. Some people say they'd like some acupuncture. Some people say they'd like some massage. Other people don't want any of those kinds of things. So it's important for you to list those. I think this part of the crisis plan is very, very important, and you're not apt to see it in any other crisis plan or advance directive. You need a clear plan of how you could stay at home or in the community or a respite center. Hospitalization is often not the best option. If you're considering hospitalization, you really need to think about what might happen there, and you need to check with hospitals. You should go around to them, interview them, say, do you use seclusion? Do you use restraint? Do you do strip searches when people enter the hospital? You need to think about, would those things be okay with you? And if they're not, then you need to make sure that you wouldn't be sent to that hospital. And but in any case, you just can't know what can happen at a hospital facility that you're not familiar with. So you need to develop a carefully devised plan so that you can stay at home or in the community and still get the care that you need. So in order to do this, you have to find out what resources are available in your community. Let me just go back to that and say just a little bit more about that. Find out what resources are available in your community. I developed a plan like this for myself, and I had it set up so that if any of my supporters noticed that I had certain behaviors, that they would set up a schedule and they would just stay with me around the clock, and my plan told them what I would want to eat, what kind of activities they should involve me in, what to do, what not to do. It was a great plan, and it worked really well. So develop one of these plans for yourself, and then also have a list of places that are okay with you to be hospitalized and ones that you would want to avoid. And again, I suggest you check them out and see how they feel about restraints and seclusion and about strip searches, and anything else that you might have heard of that you might be uncomfortable with or that might cause you trauma, and might just make you feel much worse instead of better. And then make a list of things that others can do for you that would help, like listen without interrupting, hold me or let me pace, lead me through a relaxation exercise, peer counsel with me, take me for a walk. Let me express my feelings, don't talk to me or do talk to me, encourage me, reassure me, feed me good food, keep me from hurting myself, even if that means you have to restrain me or get help from others. Be very, very specific about what you want people to do. Include a list of specific tasks you will need people to do for you and who you would like to take care of these things. Who's going to take care of the children? Who's going to water your plants? Who's going to pay your bills? Who's going to generally take care of things? Who's going to talk to your employer? Who's going to buy groceries? Who's going to do your household chores? And list things that others should avoid doing, things that would not help or might make the situation worse, like using force, spending too much time alone, being teased, restraint or seclusion, getting angry with me, impatience and invalidation, not being heard, trying to entertain me, certain kinds of music and videos. Something that I would certainly have on my list, that a thing that wouldn't help me and would be harmful would be a strip search. So you have to be very careful that you don't get into a situation where that happens. And then you have the last part is when your supporters no longer need to use the plan. So when you feel better, your supporters will no longer need to follow this plan. And so you develop a list of indicators that they can use to determine that time. So examples are when I've slept through the night for 3 nights, when I begin cooking for myself, when I eat at least 2 good meals a day, when I'm taking care of my personal hygiene needs, when I can carry on a conversation, when I keep my living space organized, when I can be in a crowd without being anxious, when I return to work, and when I can sit still for 10 minutes. So this is your crisis plan. Update it when you learn new information or change your mind about things. Give your supporters new copies of your crisis plan each time you revise it. You can help assure that your crisis plan will be followed by signing it in the presence of 2 witnesses. So that's the crisis plan. So we've done the wellness toolbox. We've done the daily maintenance plan. We've done triggers and action plan. We've done early warning signs in the action plan. We've done when things are breaking down in the action plan. And we've gone through the crisis plan. And I want to take just a few minutes to talk with you about finalizing your crisis plan and about the post-crisis plan. If any of you have any questions at all, write them in, and I'll do the best I can to answer them as soon as we finish. So it will further increase the potential for use of your crisis plan if you name a supporter as durable power of attorney. The legality of these kinds of documents varies from state to state, and you cannot be absolutely sure that the plan will be followed. However, it is your best assurance that your wishes will be honored. It is absolutely your best assurance that your wishes will be honored. So I really strongly suggest that all of you develop advanced directives, and that developing a wellness toolbox and the rest of WRAP is the best way you can prepare yourself to develop an advanced directive. All of these things that we've talked about keep you in control of your life, and they assure that the things that are helpful to you are the things that are available to you. I want to spend just a moment before we move on to questions to post-crisis planning. The time when you're healing from a crisis can be very important. Although you feel ready to begin taking care of yourself again, you may still be dealing with difficult feelings as well as the aftermath of the crisis. You may find that you start feeling worse, like you're heading for another crisis. And this happened to me several times. I was in the hospital. I came out of the hospital. I thought everything was going to be fine. The situations that I ran into when I got out of the hospital made me worse, and I checked myself back in. Not a good scene. So thinking about this time before you even have a crisis, and then perhaps giving it more attention when you're starting to feel better after a crisis, may help you have an easier time of recovering and moving on. So I'm going to just read through some of the issues you might want to address and talk a little bit about creating a timetable for resuming responsibilities. So some of the questions that you're going to want to address in your post-crisis plan, and again, most of this is not things you can do in advance. It's going to be done as you're healing from a crisis. When will you know you're ready to use a post-crisis plan? How would you like to feel when you've recovered from the crisis? Who do you want to support you through this time? Is it the same people who are on your advanced directive or different? If you've been hospitalized, where will you go when you're discharged? Do you want to go home? Do you want to go someplace else? Who would you like to take you there? Who would you like to stay with you? What things will ease your recovery if they're taken care of? Will it help you if somebody's cooked you some food? Will it help you if somebody's vacuumed your house? Will it help if somebody's paid your bills? What are some of the things that you could ask someone else to do for you until you're feeling better? What are the things that can wait until you feel better that you don't have to bother with? What are the things you need to do for yourself every single day? What are the things and people you need to avoid? What are the signs that you are beginning to feel worse? What are the wellness tools you'll use if you're starting to feel worse? What are the things that you need to do to prevent further loss from the crisis? What are the signs that you can return to using your daily maintenance plan? What are the changes in your wellness recovery action plan that you want to make as a result of this crisis? What are the changes you want to make in your lifestyle or your goals? And what did you learn from this crisis? Who are the people you need to thank? What are the changes you want to make in your life as a result of what you've learned? What do you need to do to prevent further repercussions from this crisis? People you need to apologize to, people with whom you need to make amends. And some of these seem redundant to me, but yet in checking with people, all of this is based on what I've learned from people. None of this just comes from me, but when people bring things up to me, then I check it out with lots of people. And this is the list people said that would help. And they said, just include everything, and then if people don't feel like they need to answer that one, they won't. So some of this seems like it's saying the same thing over different ways, but that's okay. Just do with it what you want. What are the medical, legal, or financial issues that need to be resolved? And then develop a timetable for resuming your responsibilities, like identify the responsibility like work, taking care of your children, buying your groceries. List who's been taking care of it, such as your sister, your partner, or a friend. Describe what you need while you're resuming this responsibility, for instance, someone to go with you, someone to watch your child in the morning, half-day schedule. And then create a step-by-step plan for resuming responsibilities, for instance, going to work 1 day the first week, 2 days the second week, 3 days the third week. So you've now reviewed the Wellness Recovery Action Plan. Perhaps you started to work on your own plan, or you're helping someone else to develop your plan. So give yourself credit for the work that you're doing. You may even want to give yourself a reward from time to time, do something special for yourself. And you can begin to use your Wellness Recovery Action Plan as your guide to daily living whenever you want to. It's up to you. At first, you may want to review your plan every day, following your daily maintenance plan and taking action as needed. After a while, you'll notice that you remember your plan, and you'll need to refer to it from time to time unless you're having a really difficult time. And you may want to revise your plan when you discover new wellness tools and find that some things are better for you than others. And for further help in developing your RAP, check out the resources that I, with the help of lots of other people, have developed over time at mentalhealthrecovery.com and rapandrecoverybooks.com. You can use the Build Your Own RAP program, make a paper copy so it's available if you don't have computer access. And you can take an online course, and there's many RAP resources. And for more information on that, go to rapandrecoverybooks.com. So I'd like to end there. And we have a question.
Yes, we do have a question, and it's a very good question. This is from Malika, and the question is, if I have struggled with wellness for many years and do not have a vision of wellness, how do I create one now when I'm chronically over 20 years, my entire life, with triggers, things breaking down, and crisis?
That's a really good question, and other people bring that question up as well. And I think that the thing to do, because you really can't remember what it was like when you were well. So the thing to do is to think about what you would like to feel like. What would feeling well be like for you? Would you be relaxed? Would you be calm? Would you be taking some time every day to listen to your music? Would you be spending some time every day visiting with friends? What would your life look like? Spend some time writing on that, journaling about that. What would I like to look like? And then you can even make a list of words, but the words can be words that are just what you would like to be like instead of what you actually know to be what you're like, because it's just it's a tough position to be in, but you really need a picture of that, and you can do it, and that works. So you can make yourself into whatever you want to be. So go for it. Good luck with that, and let us know how you come along with it. I think I don't have that particular slide, but we have the there's a Facebook page called Mary Ellen Copeland. There's a Rapid Recovery books. There's a Copeland Center Facebook, and
Mental Health Recovery.
Facebook, and there's groups. And what I suggest you do is go to our website, which is rapidrecoverybooks.com, and you'll see all the options of things. That'll put you through to Facebook, that'll put you through to e-learning, that will put you through to our bookstore if you want to get some resources, that will put you through to recovery stories, that will put you through to information on the research that we have. It will take you to the values and ethics. There's a whole body of values and ethics that surround RAP that I didn't have time to talk with you about today. That's all of it is on the website. So the website is really comprehensive, and Magdalene actually tries to keep it up to date all the time. And we're always looking to hear from you. This whole body of work has developed from what people have said helps them. It hasn't come from any major university or, people figuring out whether people should do, but it's all come from people who've been struggling, and they tell what works. So if you tell us what works and you share it on Facebook, other people are going to hear it, and maybe we're going to talk about it at a workshop, and we'll maybe write it into a book, and we'll share your story online, and all of that keeps this work going and going and going. All right, it's been nice being with you all this afternoon. It's been a nice group, and I've enjoyed talking with you. In a month, about 4 weeks from today, we're going to be having a living RAP webinar. That you've learned today how to develop a RAP, but how you live it is another whole question. And so I really want to address that with you. So I hope you'll all sign up for that, and we'll see you in a month. Take good care.